Aiva Arquette is one of the top prospects in this year's draft. He's also one of the biggest college shortstops you'll ever see. We're going to break him down on a draft profile. I've got Collazo, Peter Flaherty with me here, our draft experts, and Aiva Arquette. Peter, if your team picks Aiva Arquette, what are they getting? What would get you excited about seeing Aiva Arquette join your favorite team?
Yeah, I think it's a really exciting blend of now tools and also upside. I mean, you look at him I remember seeing him on the Cape last summer. You see him step off the bus and he looks a little different from everyone else physically. He's a 6'5", 220-pound kid. I think there's some room to add on, 5, 10 pounds as he continues to fill out. I'm curious to see how many strides slash if his hit tool can add a coat or two of polish as he progresses through professional baseball, especially as it pertains to picking up spin and seeing shapes out of the hand. But it's at least above average power right now. It's easy to envision plus raw power, just given the impact he's already shown he can generate. And you to add that to the above average bat speed he's got, I feel ever confident about his ability to stick at shortstop. Everything has taken a step in the right direction since he's arrived on campus at Corvallis. Even before that, dating back to last summer, just the actions and clock, the arm strength has been there. So you've got a premium position guy who can probably hit for power as he, at all levels. So it's a very exciting profile.
And Carlos, as Peter kind of laid out there, 2 years at Washington, transfers to Oregon State this year, and really did kind of take a little bit of a further step forward. Like, how much did he kind of answer some of the questions that he had kind of coming into this draft year?
I think he took real strides on both sides of the baseball. This was the first spring that he had played shortstop full time. He had played a lot of second base previously. He had a lot of questions entering the year. Is he an actual shortstop at the next level? Because, like we've talked about, 6'5" shortstops are not common. He gets a lot of Troy Tulowitzki comps because of that size. But I think scouts were pretty impressed with how well he defended the position. He moves well for his size. He's got more than enough arm strength. And I think he's added a degree of confidence into everyone who's scouting him, feeling good that he's going to stick on the left side of the infield in some capacity. If he has to move off shortstop, I think everyone feels pretty good that he could play third base and play that at an above average level. He also really has just continued to take strides offensively. He is not the most classic top of the class college hitter profile in the sense that there are some more questions about the pure hitting ability. There's some swing and miss there, but I think he's done a really nice job improving his approach at the plate. He's cut his strikeout rate in three years. He gets to his power. So I think while there is maybe a little bit more risk with Arquette than a typical, I mean, he's the first college hitter on our board. Typically with that profile, you have a lot of confidence in like what you're actually getting with the pure hitting ability. With Arquette, he feels more to me like a sort of high school profile where there's a lot of physical tools and projections still to dream on, even if that comes with a little bit more uncertainty and risk with the quality of the pure hit tool. But it's power, it's arm strength, and a lot of potential defensive positions he can play at a high level, even if he has to move off shortstop.
As you said, 6'5". 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it would have been like, okay, well, he's clearly moving to third base right away. That's what we're going to do. We take the guys that big can't play shortstop. Nowadays, we kind of are a little different on that. Corey Seager has shown that. Carlos Correa, another big shortstop. Ellie De La Cruz, who's even taller than Aiva Arquette. But Carlos, kind of coming back to you on this, is this bat good enough? If he ends up being a guy who has to play third base long term, because he's okay at shortstop, but you have someone better, is the bat enough to profile at third as well?
I think so. I mean, we have a 50 hit and a 60 power on his future grades. These are not current major league grades. They're projected grades for what they're going to be in their peak years at the major league level. So if you're looking at an average hitter who's going to get to plus power, chance for 25 or more home runs while playing good defense at third base, I think that's a player that can still be a really impactful hitter, hitting somewhere in the middle of your lineup, depending on the team you're rolling out there. So, yeah, I think the question is just going to be, again, more reps versus spin. How is he going to continue to adjust to the better breaking balls he's going to see at the big league level, at the professional level? I don't have any real concerns about him being able to catch up to elite velocity. Like Peter mentioned, he's got a ton of bat speed. So I think that he'll have more than enough upside and ability to profile at third base, even if he slides there. How about you, Peter?
I totally agree. And I cited some hit tool concerns a little bit earlier in my initial point. But the trend is his friend, as you had said. He posted a career low strikeout rate and a career high walk rate. Like, it's clear that the hit tool has made positive strides. Since arriving on campus at Oregon State, he's done better against spin. And like you said, a plus power guy who's going to hit 25 plus home runs and can be a potentially even big league average hitter. I still think that's a really, really valuable profile if that's what he ends up being. I remember last summer, to your point about him handling velocity, he took a Joey Volchko fastball, and we'll talk about Joey more over the next year. It was 97 on the outer third, and he drove it off the top of the wall in right center. And this is with wood bats on Cape Cod. Like, he is not a metal bat merchant. He can generate high quality impact on a regular basis with wood. I have no question that it's going to translate professionally. And I think what also makes him so exciting, and we've both talked about this, but the upside with Arquette. The exciting thing is with him is there are now tools that are really loud, but he could add, there's a degree that he could get to and an untapped level he could get to in the coming years.
I kind of wanted to kind of wrap this up by kind of focusing on that a little bit. Like, Carlos, you described him as a little bit more of a high school profile because there is this upside here. Is that also, like, we think of the high school guys and they're going to take a little bit longer to develop? Is that something where you would think that Arquette may take a little bit longer, a little bit more patience required as far as his climb through the minors? Or is that more of, he may get there pretty quickly, but you may not see his best for a little while further? Like, it may be something where his biggest impact comes in year 3, year 4, year 5 in the big leagues.
Yeah, I guess with how quickly teams push players, never say never, but I would associate him with a player that's going to take a little bit longer to push to the majors. He does not have the sort of well-rounded offensive game that Nick Kurtz, for example, had, who we already see in the major leagues just less than a year after he was drafted. So I think just given his size, given his lack of experience at shortstop, just in terms of the amount of reps that he's gotten over the last few years, I would think he needs more time at that position just to get used to the speed of the game. I do think he needs more reps offensively as a hitter. So I wouldn't immediately bucket him into this sort of really fast moving college profile, which is why I think he is a little bit unique when you're comparing him to some of the best college hitters at the top of recent draft years. Most of those guys, I feel like you can say pretty confidently that you feel like they are going to fly through the minor leagues. It wouldn't surprise me if Arquette, just given the length of his levers, the swing can get a little bit long at times. If there was a little bit of a learning curve for him in pro ball, once he starts getting attacked with, again, really consistent breaking pitches, he's at a good program. But I still think there's a huge jump in terms of the quality of stuff you're going to face every day in pro ball compared to what he's seeing at Oregon State right now.
That's Oregon State's Aiva Arquette, one of the top prospects in this year's draft, and one of the first names that we expect to hear come off the board.